Hey again everybody, Will here, and today we're going to be learning how to change drawing hands from noob to pro. So we can define some key elements of the hands here. Obviously you've got the palm, then you've got the wrists, and then you've got your thumb, which is a singularity in itself, and then obviously we've got the fingers. They're all separate, all different heights, some are all different shapes. My little fingers are different shapes to the other ones. Anyway, let's get into it. So we can first draw a circle for the center of the palm. And then coming off of the circle, you want to draw some lines, and then joining those lines, you want to draw a sort of curved line, because if you look at your hand, the line that joins all your fingers together, it isn't perfectly straight. Now, when you're drawing in the fingers like this, what you can do is draw skeletal lines, but I'll show that in a different example later. So you just want to draw fingers like this, and at the tops of your fingers, you may see that on your hands they look rounded, but in fact they're not actually rounded, and you should actually add a bit of rigidity to the tops of them. It gives it a bit more of a realistic look. However, what is important is what you add on top of all this, and I'll do a video on shading and outlines and all that coming up later. But depending on whether you want to do cartoon or realistic or another style, all comes down to what you lay on top of this. Anyway, moving on to the singularity that is the thumb, you want to draw sort of like a quarter circle and then curve the line up. And if you actually look at your thumb, then you can see that it sort of bends up into a point. But obviously we don't want it as a point, so we're going to make it a bit more rigid. Now, what you can do with the joints in your fingers is you can draw little bits like this, just to add a bit more realism to the drawing. And then for the thumb, you're also going to want to draw a nail. But for these bits here, you might be able to see on your hands, but there is contour lines. And then this line here is just to show that the line that goes across that joins your fingers up isn't straight. These ones here is an example of the fact that the ends of the fingers, they shouldn't be curved, they should be slightly more rigid. Anyway, we're going to move on to the second example now. Now, before any of you skip this video, if you've got this far in, this does also help with gloves and any other hand items too. And as you've probably seen by the title, we're doing feet as well. But you can also learn how to do shoes and socks from this as well, because it does come up in video. So if you're thinking that, oh, this guy's just drawing hands and feet and he's not going to show any sort of like clothing, don't skip now. It will come up in a video at some point. But I won't be doing hand positions and feet positions, and if you want to see me do those, please let me know in the comments down below and hit like on the video, and I might do some shorts in them in the week. Anyway, moving on to the second technique. So your hand, if you look at it, it's sort of like a rectangle, a warped one, and the reason it's warped is because your hand is sort of bends in a way. Now this is going to be a backhand here, and we're going to use these skeletal lines for the fingers like I mentioned earlier. Now this time we're going to be a bit more square on the top of the fingers, because this is for a more cartoony style, I guess. And as you can see, I have actually drawn arrows that show how the hand bends. Now moving on to the thumb, this thumb's going to be slightly different because obviously we're drawing it from the back, but you can still see the nail. This is a bit harder to draw, this one, because you have to get the proportions right. But this is all about me learning with you guys, because I haven't done this in a while and it's all coming back to me. And I really enjoy learning it with you guys. So please let me know if you'd like to see more stuff like this. Anyway, just going to draw in the nails now. You don't have to draw in the nails. You could draw claws depending on what your creature or character is. And I will do a video on claws and teeth and other like nails and stuff. But anyway, that is that example done. As you can see, I've drawn the wrist in. Now we're actually just going to move on to feet. So this foot here I actually did wrong, because although I did the shapes right, what I've done is put the toes as a widespread thing, and you actually want them close together. Because if you look at your foot, you'll notice that your toes are actually closer together. So what we're going to do, like the hands on the second example, we're going to draw a nice warped rectangle, skeletal lines, and then on each of the skeletal lines we're going to draw circles, starting with a big one and progressively getting smaller. And these are going to be our toes. So if you notice on a foot, the toes don't just go straight out, they go up, they get a little bit wider, and then they sort of form a circle. So I'm again just defining the shapes in your feet and in your hands and trying to put them onto the page. Now with the foot, obviously it isn't just a rectangle, and we've got to give it some actual shape, and we're going to do that in a minute. So as you can see on this one, I've actually got the toes a lot closer together than I have on the other one. And again, you want this nice arc on the foot like you have on the hands, because obviously you don't have a straight line that connects your toes together, it's arcs. Now we're just going to add in the rest of the foot, and this just sums up what the actual shape of it is. Now when you're drawing a right or left foot, the heel bends different ways, and with the foot, the heel bends towards where the big toe is, and it does that to give you balance. I'm just going to draw in the contour lines now. But it's important you get the shape of the heel right, and then you can just draw in this upper bit of the leg here. Anyway, so for socks, like I said before, it's like an extra step, but what you can do is you can draw a little sort of singularity or a blob or a wavy line over the top of the toes, and then it makes it look, again, more realistic. And I think drawing the foot underneath first actually really helps. Another example here for shoes is, what I've done here actually is I've drawn the shoe over the top first, but then you can use the rectangle from the side and then draw the big toe in or the little toe in, depending on which side you're coming from, and then you can draw a singularity around that depending on what you want the foot or the shoe to look like. Now you may have seen that I've done a slight arc, because some people are flat-footed and then other people aren't flat-footed. They have a slight arch in their foot, and that's what that's for. So yeah, you can do shoes and socks, you can do gloves and whatever else you might put on your hands, like mittens. But anyway, I'm just going to name them all. So this is the shoe outside, then we've got the 4 socks, and we've got the without socks if you want, and the underside view. Then here we've got the widespread feet. Again, you can have them close together, widespread, doesn't really matter. It's all sort of the same. And then down the bottom here we have the rectangle hands, and we have the circular hands. There we go. Noob to pro in 9 minutes, drawing hands and feet. I hope you will enjoy it. I hope you had great fun. Hopefully you now all know how to draw a lot better with your hands and your feet, and you can improve your character's drawings. So here's an image of what we've done today, and if you want to use it, then you can take a screenshot now. But that's it for now. See ya.